Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Cole and this is our review of Money in the Bank 2014. Let's jump right into it. Now if you've seen a couple days ago I put out my prediction show. So as we go through we're going to go by if I was correct or if I was wrong. First match, Harper and Rowan, the Wyatt family versus the Usos. I picked this one wrong. I picked Harper and Rowan to win. The Usos won. I thought it was a good match. To me, it didn't make sense that the Usos won, but I'm not the one booking. I picked the Rowan and Harper to win. I thought it's about time that someone in that stable has a belt, and why not the tag titles? Just my opinion. Next up, we had the Divas Championship match. Naomi versus Paige, with Cameron in Naomi's corner. A very good match, very solid Divas wrestling match. Paige picks up the win cleanly. I picked this one correct. I thought it was a great match. I enjoyed everything I seen. I liked Cameron's reaction on the outside, how she was happy when Paige would get the advantage and unhappy when Naomi would. Further showing the beginnings of their split up as the Funkadactyls to go on to individual glory. I thought it was a good match all the way around. Very good Divas match on the show. One of two. We have two Divas matches in the pay-per-view, which is surprising. Normally we don't get that many. Next up we had Adam Rose versus Damian Sandow. Damian Sandow was Paul Revere. I don't get it. I'm going to try and ignore it. I've spoken about it several times already. Adam Rose picks up the win. This was an unannounced match, so I did not make a preview on it or a prediction. Good match, though. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I just wanted to take Sandow away from this goofiness and let him be the good wrestler or great wrestler he actually is. Next up, we had our first of the two Money in the Bank matches. This was for the Money in the Bank contract. We had Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose versus Rob Van Dam versus Kofi Kingston versus Jack Swagger versus Dolph Ziggler. Bad News Barrett did not compete. They did not replace him. I got this one right. Seth Rollins picked up the win after Kane came out and caused interference, pretty much protected him to do so. I figured they would do something like this. I think if Bad News Barrett didn't get injured, he would be the one to win. But this was definitely, in my opinion, the match of the night. It far exceeded the second Money in the Bank match. And with the people involved, how could it not? Next up, we have Ryback and Curtis Axel versus Goldust and Stardust. I picked this one right. The Dust Brothers win. You know, this has been going back and forth with these two teams for a while. I figure, you know, with the gimmick change with Cody, that this was probably going to happen. So, all in all, I thought it was a good match. I kind of expected the outcome. Or actually, I did expect it because that's what I chose, or predicted. Next up, we have Big E versus Rusev. Rusev picks up the win. This match was actually better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be crap because Rusev isn't that impressive to me. I still think that Big E is the guy out of the two that I would go with going forward as being a monster. I think he's more believable. I think he plays his character better. Just my opinion, but they seem to like Rusev, so I will give the man this. He is growing by leaps and bounds, and he's 150% better than he was when he debuted on Raw or SmackDown or in the main roster altogether than he was. He is now 150% better than he was then. He might continue to improve, and I might change my opinion on him. But as of right now, I'm just not a huge fan of it, other than the fact that you get to see Lana, which who's not a fan of that. Speaking of Divas, we had our second Divas match of the night. In the second match, I picked wrong. Layla versus Summer Rae with Fandango as a special guest referee. Layla picks up the win. I kind of thought they would go with Summer. I figured Summer, being more of the face of the two, would be the one picking up the win, but didn't work out that way. Layla picks up the win. It was an okay match. I think at this point everybody was ready to see the second Money in the Bank, and we kind of got two okay, not great matches back to back. And last but not least, the Money in the Bank match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship went exactly as I predicted it would. We had Cesaro versus Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt versus Alberto Del Rio versus Randy Orton versus Kane versus Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Super Cena picks up the win. Kind of what I predicted. Makes the most sense as a business going forward for them to do it this way. Eventually, and it's already leaked that he's going to be facing Lesnar at SummerSlam, so it doesn't hurt him to have a 2-month title reign. Whereas one of the newer guys, Cesaro, Wyatt, Roman Reigns, it would hurt, I think, in my opinion, their overall perception. The other guys, Randy Orton, Kane's the only other guy besides Cena I thought that could have won. Had a short reign and it not affect him. Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Alberto Del Rio, all of their most recent title runs were very lackluster, so another lackluster title run I think hurts them as an overall product. Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Roman Reigns, you kind of got to look at Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio and how quickly they were pushed to the top and how quickly they won their championship and go, okay, that didn't really work because their characters got stale quick that way. So I understand why they didn't want to give any of those three the title. Cena makes the most sense, although people hate it, and they always will. The only thing I'm upset with is he's at 15 runs now. He's only one away from Ric Flair. I don't think he should be ever allowed to tie or break it, but he eventually will, so in my opinion, it minimalizes what Ric Flair is and how much Ric Flair means to the business. But overall, based on my predictions, I got 5 right, 2 wrong, 1 match that wasn't announced. So I'm 5-2-1. Pretty decent for the show. I mean, if I was betting in Las Vegas, I probably would have made a good amount of money off of it. Just saying. But I did decent on the predictions. Overall, as a show, we're going to rate it. We have a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1 is a Great Khali, 2 is a Santino Marella, 3 is a Cody Rhodes, 4 is a Cesaro, 5 is a Daniel Bryan. We give the show a 4, a Cesaro. The 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches were good. The contract one being the better of the 2. Naomi versus Paige was excellent. The Wyatt family versus the Usos was excellent. Ryback versus Goldust and Stardust was a good match. And even Rose and Sandow, I thought Rose and Sandow and Big E and Rusev were better on paper or better live than what they could have been on paper. The only one I was really disappointed was Layla versus Summer. Other than that, really good show. But before we go off of this taping, I wanted to mention something. Today is June 30th, 2014. That is the day I'm recording this. I don't know when you're going to be watching this. But today is a very significant day. It is the 70th birthday of what I consider one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. One of my all-time heroes, a guy that laid the groundwork for what would become hardcore wrestling, a guy that was a technical wizard, who could wrestle absolutely any style you put him in, and that is the hardcore legend, Terry Funk. One of the great wrestlers in the history of the business. I know he'll probably never see this, but maybe someone will that'll be able to tell him. I appreciate everything he's ever done for the business. I hope he gets 70 more birthdays and he wrestles all 70 of them. I think the guy's amazing. I love Terry Funk. He's one of the most influential wrestlers in wrestling history. Terry Funk is the man. What's not to say? Who doesn't love the Funk? I mean, the guy's just a legend. But basically, that's all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.